Oh, just kidding. I caught myself. I didn't unmute myself. So, hi guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine and the Sunshine Stamp & Co. here with you for our much anticipated Memories and More class. So, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you being here. We have 15 beautiful cards that we are going to make today. Really 3 each of 5 cards that we are going to make today from the beautiful Days Like This Memories and More card pack. So, very excited to have you along with us today. We do at this point have just a handful left. So, if this is a class that you were on the fence about and decide after seeing the process and the beautiful cards and being a part of the class that you want to partake in it, go ahead and let us know sooner rather than later. There are just a few left. So thank you so much for joining from Cornwall, Ontario. Wow, thank you for being the first one on and ready to go. So I am going to talk through the process of taking your supplies, so the Memories and More pack, also the ribbon and the embellishments, conjoining them with the kit that you purchased for this class, and then getting it all organized and sorted out, and then diving into and actually making the cards. So we have a lot to cover, but I do think we will do a great job to make it through. And people are rolling in. Wonderful. So hello to Elaine and Connie, as well as Suzanne and Francie. Hello, Faye and Shelly. So thank you to everyone who joined already. I am on my second class of the day. So this morning I had a 9 o'clock class doing the Paper Pumpkin Altered and Edited class, but that was an exclusive class just for people who subscribed or who purchased the class. So I was really lonely. I only had one person who popped in, and they actually didn't stay on very long because they had an appointment to get to. So I'm so excited that I have people here who are commenting along. And also I do have the lovely Judy Immel, who is literally here in person. So I'm not lonely anymore. But yes, so I forgot though in the Paper Pumpkin class to do roll call. And like I said, that was just a small group of people who just participated. So I will remember to do roll call for this class. So thank you to everyone who joined. Yay, hello everybody. Hello to Donna and Sherry, Mary, Linda, and Donna Rose as well. Hi, we are coming in hot. So let's get down to business. I'll give you a peek at the cards while I pull up the list of who is all participating. So these are the 5 card designs. Your kit will include 3 of each of these 5 designs. So you will have the opportunity to make 15 cards, and you'll have half a pack left. So if you wanted to cut your own kits, you could actually make 6 of each of these cards. So, welcome back. It's me again. So, for class today, our roll call is Pat Smothers, Julie Block, Barbara Godby, Becky Rohr, Cheryl Thomas, Debbie Gast, Donna Grutschke, Donna Rose, Elaine Pinero, Faye Godby, France Eldridge, Jean Shute, Julie Bontrager, Karen Woods, Kathy Showalter, Kelly Gibson, Kimberly Longway, Kimberly Snow, Latokia Trigg, Leslie McMinn, Linda Scott, Margene Eskelson. I also skipped Lisa Mullis, sorry. This is hard. Patsy Roberts, Rita Steffi, Rosalind Begay, Shirley Natali, Stacy Ton, Susan Bellamy, Susan Devine, Trisha Fagley, Wanda Zerman, Angie Cruz, Emily Buska, Feline Mays, Nina Barbaric, Mary Novak, Chris Robinson, Jeanette Bowl, Yvette Lopez, Linda Hodge, Rose Garibaldi, Sherry Stewart, Seal Nocella, Debbie Stone, Penny Powell, Faye Avera, Mary Lemke. We also have Sandy Coy Emery. And I will say, this is as of Tuesday. So if there were some people who registered within the last 2 days, I'm sorry, I may not have called you off because Chris actually left. We were tying up a whole bunch of loose ends on Tuesday, and then she left absolutely bright and early on Wednesday. So if you got registration in later or you hadn't heard back yet on some of those details, you may have accidentally missed the roll call. But thank you to everyone who has signed up for the class. Please shout yourself out if you are here. We're so glad that you are here. And of course, if you're catching the replay, we're happy that you are with us as well. So, last call, we do have about 2 or 3 left. So enjoy the show. If you decide as you're going or shortly thereafter that you are interested, you'll see when I flip the camera down here. You can reach out to Chris and let her know what you are interested in. These kits will not go out until later. She is out of the country at this exact moment. So if you do reach out and ask for something, you will get it, but it may take just a little bit. All right, so thank you so much. Let's get started. This is the order in which we will make the cards. So we're starting with sending love, then we'll go on to the thank you card, the you can do anything card, followed by the happy birthday card and the hello card. So I am going to stack these up for now so that we can sort through everything we are doing. So if you participated in the class with us, you will receive your envelope of all of your cards, as well as if you're a Be Happy stamper, you may have purchased these supplies on your own. Otherwise, you could have bought the full kit and caboodle, which includes an entire pack of Days Like This Memories and More cards. It also includes a roll of the gold with white 3/8 inch ribbon. And then we also included the brushed brass butterflies. So those are the supplies that you need. And to get started, thanks to Judy, we are going to crack open. So this is exactly what your pack is going to look like. The golden ticket, or actually in this case, it's a rainbow ticket because this was a collaboration between Chris and I. So it's not the rainbow ticket, it's not the golden ticket, it's a hybrid between the two. So that's on top and lets you know what you are participating in, just in case, you know, this sits in a pile and it takes a little bit for you to get around to it. Happens to the best of us. So that is your kit of supplies that we cut and kitted up for you. You'll also want to, at this point, open up your Memories and More card pack, because that's going to be the last of the elements that we need to get these kits ready for you. So, your Memories and More card pack. There are 2 different sizes of cards in here. You've got the 3x4s and the 4x6s. So typically these are used, I mean, for whatever you want it to be used for, but typically this is for like a pocket style scrapbook. And that's where you get these specific sizes. And you'll notice some elements that we aren't utilizing as card makers, but that are there for journaling. So we take the supplies and use them creatively to supplement our cards, because that's what we typically like to make. So you are using half of this card pack. So you can go ahead and I'll show you what we all have in store. So we've got this 4x6. Obviously, we're using this scene. On the back side, we've got a green grid. So as I show them off, I'm going to sort them into 2 piles. So we've got 3 on this side and 3 on this side. So 3 is what we're going to use for our card pack. The additional 3 are going to be either for you to make your own other things, or if you want to kit up for more cards, you can absolutely do that as well. Hello, Sherry. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm going to just kind of take a scroll back quick and make sure I didn't miss anyone else. So let's see here. Hello to Yvonne as well. I think I said hi to just about everyone else. I am going to I see a comment here. So I mentioned that I was live earlier at 9 o'clock for the Paper Pumpkin Altered and Edited class. That link is an unlisted link. It's kind of exclusive for the people who signed up for the class. If you did sign up for the class, you will find that link in the email correspondence that came through from Chris. I know she emailed on Tuesday, and she emailed a couple of other times prior to that. If you are enrolled in the class and don't see or have the email, just reach out and we'll make sure to send that information your way. Sometimes emails can end up in spam or in all sorts of other places, and we don't want you to miss it because you can't necessarily go to the Cards by Christine YouTube page and actually find it. It's something that you will need to have the physical link for, and then you'll be able to hop in and watch the video. So, of course, if you need help with that, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to help you. Okay, so back to there. Hello, Nancy. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so that was our first card. The second card in this card pack. So we've got this beautiful like petal pink with white butterfly motifs and then some journaling lines. And then on the other side, we have this really cool yellow textured pattern. So again, we'll do 3 and 3 to split this in half. And then the last of the 4x6 size cards is this, what I called busy butterfly pattern. You'll see some of these like nicknames that I'm making for these pages on the on the PDF tutorial when I'm referencing what pieces you're using. On the back of the busy butterflies, we have this garden green filled with happiness. So, you know, if you want to get creative in any way, shape, or form with how you're using these, you absolutely can. But the sides that we are using are what I'm kind of pointing out. So there you go. That is splitting up the 4x6s. Then we have this 3x4 size. And the first one that we have is this kind of pool party scene that has 3 little butterflies on the top. On the back, we have another green scene that has just a little bit of florals on the bottom. So we'll take and evenly divide that, 3x3 again. Then we have this pink grid that on the back, we have a green geometric pattern. So the funny thing is, I don't like green. I shouldn't say I don't dislike green, but green is my least favorite color. And I was really tempted to want to use this side. So we did use this side. It complemented one of the cards that we were working on. So that's the side we used. But I'm really anxious to utilize this green side because with my like extra half, because I was really sad when we glued that down. And that is so atypical for me because I do not naturally gravitate to green. Okay, then the next card we have all the good things. On the back we have another yellow pattern. If I recall, I think this is an extra card piece. I do not believe we utilized this piece. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think we did. All right, then moving along, we have, I called this the vertical flying butterflies panel. On the back, we have lots of laughter in a beautiful yellow. I fluctuate a lot with my favorite colors, but I think yellow is kind of floating to the top of the list right now. The next card we have is this little journaling card with a small little yellow butterfly, and on the back side we have more of that petal pink and white butterfly motif. So 3 and 3 on that. Then the last card we have is this panel that has butterflies in the bottom, and then Days Like This journaling card. So again, 3 and 3. So we have now sufficiently split our Memories and More pack in half. And again, we are only using half of the pack. So right now I'm going to take one half and put it off to the side. Then I'm going to take this other half, and now we're going to start sorting this into the card kit that we sent so that we can get ready to make our cards. So we'll put that off to the side, and then we'll dive into the kit. So this is, hi Judy Immel. Hi Judy. Judy's over here. She's working on her paper pumpkin cards, and then she's gonna dive into the Memories and More class. We are just so thankful that she is letting us dive into her pack, because it gives you guys a realistic view of what you're going to be doing, instead of, over here, I have my one card that I'm going to make, because we actually have the set that Chris made when we worked together to, I need to slow down. When we worked together to design the class, we made this set of cards. Then I subsequently put together the second set of cards, because that's what our helpers use to know what sizes of stuff. So that's their reference piece. So to finish out the set of 3, just like you guys have, I'm going to be making one of each. So that's that third card over here. But it doesn't really help or work for you guys to see me already have all the pieces over there. So we're just using Judy's kit to sort everything out so that you know what you need and you don't get overwhelmed by all the pieces and all the confusion. So hello Patricia, thank you so much for joining, and hello to Doris and Crystal as well. Oh, we've got sunny Iowa. So here in Wisconsin, it's not necessarily sunny, but I've been seeing more sunny days than we have in the last month. So I'm starting to feel like there's hope. All right, so right off the top, let's see here. I have one set in order and I have one set in reverse order. So that's funny. So the first card that we are going to be making is this Sending Love card. Now this utilizes one of the full pieces of 4x6 Memories and More cards. So you'll recognize that right here. We will be trimming it down, but for the time being, we're going to go ahead and take this piece and add it to this stack of supplies. So we have our Flirty Flamingo card base, we have our inside mat, now we're going to be adding our top mat, and then we have this strip that we are going to be stamping on. So that takes care of all of the supplies. I'm going to tuck these in, but that takes care of all of the supplies for card number 1. So I'm going to add that together and then flip it over, and then we see our next card here is this Thank You card. So from our stack of supplies, we're going to grab that 4x6 piece of yellow. We can add that to this stack, and then we're also going to add that vertical flying butterfly piece, which was right here in the middle. Okay, so again, we're making 3 cards, so we're going to take all 3 of those pieces because we already cut the pack in half and put them off to the side. So then here what we have, you're going to have 3 basic black card bases. You're going to have 3 white inside mats. You're going to have 3 Flirty Flamingo mats for the outside. Then you can take your yellow Memories and More pieces. You'll also have a white second mat, or excuse me, a black, not even close to white, kind of the opposite, a black second mat, as well as our 3x4 vertical flying butterfly pieces. We're also going to be utilizing this Flirty Flamingo strip and then 2 circles here for our sentiments. So I'm going to flip this all over, so for that reason I'm going to put the yellow piece on top to kind of sandwich all of our pieces together, and then we'll move on to card number 3. Oh good, Donna found the Paper Pumpkin video. Yes, it was private. So we're trying to experiment with this new class. I'm just going to take a small little tangent here. So I have loved doing Paper Pumpkin classes for, it's been probably 4 years now that I've been doing Paper Pumpkin classes. And then in the last year or 2 years, I started doing our kids classes as well. And so now I'm trying to find different classes and different things that I can offer, because I'm trying to earn Costa Rica. So Chris is kind of mentoring me, and we're coming up with ways that I can offer classes that are different but still fit within the appetite of our customer base, and then also that fit within my lifestyle. I do have 2 young kids. My oldest just turned 8, and then I have a 5-year-old as well, and I'm a part-time teacher as well as all of this. So I got a lot going on. So I'm trying to also find classes that I can do. So like this, my mom and I worked together to cut all the supplies and kit them up. So things that fit within my bandwidth and within my scope of helpers, which is just my mom and my boyfriend. He didn't end up helping with this past one, but I warned him. I said, you're going to probably get roped into helping pretty soon here too. So finding what I can do realistically that helps me, achieve my goals and achieve the incentive trip, but doesn't spread me too thin or go beyond my bandwidth. So anyways, this altered and edited Paper Pumpkin class was kind of a testing of the waters of that to see, is there an appetite for something like that? And if so, how do we offer it? What are we going to do with it? So we thought it would be something that we would offer as a private just for people who actually purchase the class, to give them an extra perk. So that is why it is an unlisted video, and that is why you won't actually find it on the Cards by Christine page. You also won't get a notification when the live starts. So sometimes I know, you might be perusing on your phone and you'll get the notification that, oh, Cards by Christine is live, and you might not have even been planning on watching the class, but you go in and you check it out. And you engage and interact. So an unlisted video doesn't pop up like that either. So yes, it is kind of completely different, but we will see if that style works out, and if the people who participate feel as though it was nice to have that exclusive content. So that's the gist on all of that. Okay, so we are now on card number 3. The card number 3 is You Can Do Anything. So we will hop over to, this is our last of the 4x6 pieces. This is our, what I'm calling Busy Butterfly panel. And then we're also taking this Days Like This card. So this is very much a journaling card for our pocket scrapbookers. And yes, we could have used this yellow side, would have been okay as well, just didn't fit any of our designs. So we flipped it over, and there's a decent size border around every part of it that we felt as though we could take, and you'll see here, a smaller size, cover it up, and then you just have that beautiful mat with some texture on it. So instead of our mat just being a solid plain color, you've got a little bit of a different mat that has some texture to it. So those are the two pieces that you're going to bring in, and then you can couple it up with what you got out of your kit, which is 3 Flirty Flamingo card bases. You have a white inside mat. You have a pool party mat for on the outside, which then will get subsequently matted with this Busy Butterflies. Then you have this journaling card, which I already stated is going to become matte for this Flirty Flamingo, which is dry embossed. It's hard to pick up on the camera here, but that's dry embossed with the beautiful patterns embossing folder. And then you also have a set of 3 of this Nested Essential Polygon, which we will stamp with the You Can Do Anything. Okay, so again, I'm going to take this larger piece and sandwich that together and then flip this over. Okay, card number 4, we are moving on to our happy birthday card. So this card is going to utilize 2 of these 3x4 pieces, which are going to be, okay, here we go. So we have the vertical pool party gradient piece that has 3 little butterflies. That, of course, is going to be the focal mat. And then we also have this piece that I was talking about earlier, where we are utilizing the Flirty Flamingo side with the grid, but the side that I struggled so much to have to glue down. So this is the other piece that we're using. You're going to couple that up with your card pack, which includes 3 pool party card bases. You also have 3 basic white interior mats. The next piece that I'm trying to like layer from the bottom up. So the next piece is going to be this Flirty Flamingo mat that is embossed with the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. Next, you are going to have this white mat, and I actually missed a layer here. We're going to sneak in these little Flirty Flamingo grid pieces. Those are going to cover up that piece that was die cut out of the bottom there. Then we'll put the mat. And then on top of that mat, we are going to have this pocket card, the 3x4 with the 3 little butterflies on it. Then we are going to have our little banner pieces. And then you have 1 stray piece. This is approximately 4 1/4 by 4 1/2. And you do only have 1 of them. That is entirely intentional. So this is what we are calling a scrap. And it's big enough for you to stamp happy birthday 3 times. We are, and I'll get to this in just a little bit, but we are using the Fabulous Sayings stamp set, which was the product of the month for January. So we'll talk more about that in just a little bit, but we're using the happy birthday stamp here in Memento. Hello, Margene. Thank you so much for joining us. So you'll stamp that in Memento, and then yes, unfortunately, we are fussy cutting. So if you don't like fussy cutting, you can absolutely use something else or use this paper for something else. You could stamp straight onto the banner, whatever you would like to do. But the intention here is for this white piece to be your scrap to stamp happy birthday 3 times on. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, that actually sandwiches it pretty good. So we'll flip this over, and then we are on the last card. So card number 5. We are making this beautiful hello card. So after all of these cards that are bright and vivacious, we are bringing in Petal Pink for a much softer card. So, like I deduced earlier, we are pulling in, look at this. Okay, I was actually incorrect. We are not going to have any scraps left, which is such a beautiful feeling when we can go ahead and use all of our supplies. But we are going to use this petal pink card that has the butterfly motifs on it. We're actually going to turn it sideways and cut it diagonally. Of course, we'll talk through that when we get to that point. And then this card, all good things. So you could absolutely use that if that is a sentiment that you kind of relate to. It doesn't seem very card worthy. Like, obviously these are made to be more for like scrapbooking. So it didn't quite fit with what we were looking to use for a sentiment for sending a card in the mail. So we just went ahead and covered that up with a nested essential die and stamped hello, and then it fit like a T. So we have to be a little careful about the placement of that label when we get that far, but that is what this card is being utilized for. So you're coupling that up with the rest of the pieces, which should be 3 petal pink card bases. You've got 3 white inside mats. Then you have 3 pool party mats that are embossed with the joined together 3D embossing folder. Then you have a basic white secondary mat. And of course you've got your Memories and More cards to supplement as well. The last piece that you should have are 3 of these nested essential dies that we are utilizing for our sentiment. So I'll sneak those in there, and then we can flip this over. And that takes you through all of the contents of your kit that you purchased from us, as well as putting together with all of the pieces that came from your Memories and More pack. The last things that you will need if you are making these cards with us today is you will need your ribbon and your butterflies. And what we're going to do, we'll cut the ribbon as we make the cards. We're not going to go ahead and cut and add them into the kit right now, but keep that in mind. So at this point, I am going to move these off to the side. Judy, when you are ready, you can start making, this is quite the sandwich, so go ahead. I'm going to keep the ribbon for the time being. So that is the walkthrough for all of your supplies. I'm going to take a quick drink, and then we will keep moving and get started on our first card. Okay, I've got like cards galore over here. So, card number 1 is the easiest card, but it is oh so pretty with that beautiful watercolor floral scene. So, at this point, I am going to no longer be talking about or referencing the fact that we're making 3 of each of these cards. You will have the supplies on your specific piles to make 3 of them, but I now have handed that off, and my pile is just making 1 of each of the cards. So just know that as you're watching, that's what happened. So we've got 1 card here, I've got 1 card on this other stack off to your right, and then the 3rd card from the kit is right in front of you at this point in time. So this first one is such a good card to get kicked off with because it really is quite simple. We're going to take our card base, which is Flirty Flamingo, and we are going to line up the corners and burnish the seam. Then we're going to bring in our paper trimmer. And at this point, we are going to take our horizontal flowers, our Memories and More card base, and we're going to trim it down to size. So the card base here, excuse me, the mat here that goes on our card base. So I'm going to make one more grand announcement. All of the card bases for this card class are going to be 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. So all of the bases are consistent. And then the mat here for all of the cards is going to be 5 1/4 by 4. So we know that this card is 4 by 6. So we already have the appropriate height here. So we just need to cut this long 6-inch edge at 5 1/4. So you have a decision to make whether you want to cut at 5 1/4 right here. So that goes ahead and cuts off this yellow flower. Or if you want to cut it at 5 1/4 on the opposite side, which would cut the pink flower off. We decided to keep the pink flower on. It seemed a little more balanced, and we liked how tall this flower was on the left side. So we lined the pink flower up at 5 1/4 and cut off the yellow flower. So that was how we decided. That was our choice. Okay. Then we've got that piece that can get glued on. See, this side, I didn't mind gluing this down. It was just green grid. How boring. All right, so liquid glue on there or whatever adhesive of choice you prefer. Then that little strip that we cut off is the perfect size to go on the mat on the inside. So before I go too much farther, I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. It's already the exact right size because it's 4 inches tall, and that's the same size that you have on your inside mat. So got that glued down. Now when we move on to stamping, we'll stamp the sending love on here, and then we'll stamp the sentiment on the inside, which now we'll have a better idea on how we want it spaced because we have that strip on the side there. So go ahead and grab your stamps. So Fabulous Sayings. And for most of these cards, we're using Memento Black. There's just a couple, actually, I think only one place that we bring in a little bit of Pool Party and 2 places where we bring in some Flirty Flamingo. So there's that. I need to grab some blocks, though. I forgot those. Oy. Okay. So, the Fabulous Sayings. This is the January product of the month. Product of the month started last December, so this was only the second product of the month, and now, of course, we are in January. We are in February, so we are on to our third product of the month. We had a DSP in December, and then a stamp set in January, and now we're back to a DSP for February. Of course, as with most cards that we design, you just need any sentiment. So if you don't have this stamp set, you can utilize any stamp that fits on this particular label. And then on the inside we stamped, there are simply no words for this. So we'll get those stamps out. Oh, my stamps are dirty. Get that cleaned up a little bit so it sticks better. Okay, there are simply no words for this. Then we have Sending Love. So the exclusive product of the month, it's new. It's an interesting concept. We created a group called the Stampers Society for everyone who qualifies and purchases the product. And it's funny, Sending Love is the stamp that I used for my exclusive product of the month card. I made a Valentine. Turned out super cute. Okay, where is... Okay, grab the wrong one. So, for those of you that love our foam pads, Memento is not a foam pad, but you can take an uninked white and ink it up with the Memento black ink. So I accidentally grabbed the white pad because this looks just like a traditional white pad, but we inked it up with the black. So yeah, would not have worked so well to stamp this in white. Okay, so go ahead and ink up your stamp. Okay, then this font has very curvy lines. That's really a bad description, but it doesn't stand on the baseline like traditional print does. So like the S dips below the baseline, the D and the L shoot very high up, but the L also shoots very low. So you just want to do your best job centering it on that strip so that it looks like it's in the middle, not too high up or too far down. I will say I feel like I stamped it just a smidge too high. Although I don't know if it's too high to the extent that I need to redo it. Granted, every piece of paper has two sides, so why not? But honestly, I'm good with it, so I'm just going to let it be. Before I bring out my chamois, I am, though, going to bring back my inside piece and stamp the sentiment in there, which, again, is there are simply no words for this. And then I'm going to try to center it left to right, now knowing where that DSP lands. Hello, Karen Wetstein. Thank you so much for joining, and hello to Julie as well. Oh, hi, Deborah, too. I hope everyone is doing well. Well, I hope you and your husband are doing well. Thank you for joining us. Such a clean stamp. I love it. Okay, so now we can move our ink out of the way for the time being. We can grab our chamois, get our stamps cleaned, and then get on to assembly. Uh-oh, how did that happen? All right, so Sending Love. Now, we wrote in the instructions that you are using 11 inches of ribbon here. So basically you take 11 inches, you fold it in half, and then, I need to flip this, and then you stick it to the back, have a little loop on the right hand end, and then trim the tails. You could probably even maybe get by with 10, but we'll put down 11 inches because we don't like it to be too tight that you can't maneuver all of the things you want to maneuver. That being said, you can probably get by with like 4 inches of ribbon if you want to conserve ribbon by not wasting this double run behind this whole label. So you see, I didn't cut this. I didn't cut the 11 inches. I'm going to go ahead and put some tear and tape. So basically, if I were to do it the 11-inch way, I would run tear and tape along the whole top and whole bottom so that there's place for all of that to adhere to. However, I'm going to be conservative with my ribbon. I'm going to grab my tear and tape, and I'm now just going to put tear and tape on the left and right sides. Now I'm going to take, to create this little loop off the side here, I would take about an inch, maybe an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches, you know, depending on how much you really want to use, or just take the ribbon straight off of your roll and fold it to the shape that you want it. So now it doesn't necessarily matter how much it is. You just take what you need, make it how you want it, and then call it good. Beautiful thing about ribbon and tear and tape is you can lift it up and make it look exactly how you want it and reposition it. So I think that's pretty good. It could be a little longer, but I think that's good. So then we're going to grab our ribbon scissor and trim that down. And now we're just going to take 2 tails of ribbon off the side here. And layer them on there at whatever angle you would like. Okay. So that, to me, looks really good. Then I'm just going to take my scissor and we're going to trim this. And we're going to trim this. Okay. So that was a pretty easy way to save like 6-ish inches of ribbon. Now we're going to flip this back over and we'll put some dimensionals. Actually, before we do that, we're going to take tear and tape and sandwich that together so that that ribbon does not go anywhere. Okay, so got that good and stuck down. And now we'll bring in our dimensionals and pop this up. Okay. Tails are heading off to the left, and then we are going to layer this in the upper right-hand corner of our card. Then you can go ahead and Stella, which we didn't do on our sample cards. Oh, this Stella is dead. Let's see if this one does any better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just put some Stella on these flowers. And then I'll put just a little Stella on there as well. Then I'll bring the dead Stella out and smudge that around. Although that Stella definitely has some blue in it. How about this one? We got Stella's aplenty here. I'll just spread those dots around a little bit. Stella is such a good tool. One of my favorites. Of course, you can always add Stella, well, anywhere you want, but you could also add it to the butterflies. You could only add it to the butterflies. You could put it nowhere. It's completely up to you. Whoa. You could also smother it on the bottom of your card base on accident. Schmoopsies! So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down just a smidge. Oh, goodness. Okay. Donna says, more tape to hold your ribbon in place. I don't know exactly at what point that was commented, but yes, I was a little stingy with the tear and tape. I accidentally did a really small piece, so that was not super secure. So we'll take, this is just for me because I had a schmoopsies. I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off the side and or the bottom, and because I'm doing that, I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off the side as well. So now she might not be super centered, but it is what it is. All right, so now we will glue this on the inside of the card. Stella really wanted to make herself seen. Now, because I trimmed mine down, mine is going to have much more of a border on the inside than yours will. Yes, I understand it's only 1/8 of an inch, but hello, kitten. Why do you want to love me so much? Yeah. These cats have been all over me. They miss Mom. Do you want to say hi to all the friends? Hi. So here is our sending love card. Let's grab our brass butterflies and finish it off. So you have your own pack of brass butterflies. So it is completely up to you if you want to include 3 or 5. We started with 3, wanted a 4th one, but then just didn't know where we should put the 5th one. So it was kind of like, man, I don't know what the right thing to do here is. So we put a brass butterfly up down here, and then a second large one over here. Then we switched to the small ones. Put one upper right on the sentiment, and then a small one over here, and a small one fluttering off the edge up here. So that's what we did for embellishments on this card. These brass butterflies are so heavy. I'm sad they're on the discontinued list now, but I really like them. So here we have our finished sending love card, as we're getting love from our little Tigger friend over here. Mommy's gone, pay attention to me. I know. That is exactly what you're saying. I know. Oh, does that feel good? Yeah. So now how do I kick you out of here, buddy? Do I love you for 2 minutes and then shoo you away?
And move her.
You want to go by Judy? Oh, look at that. Here. Oh my goodness, that's a big cat. Actually, I know nothing about cats or dogs or pets or anything, so maybe it's not a big one. I don't know. All right. That was card number 1. We are moving on now to card number 2. This one has a lot more layers. So if you were yawning a little bit about that last one because it didn't have a whole lot to do, you'll be more excited about this one. Although, you know, the last one, yes, did not have a lot of layers, but it's still so pretty. So I love it. Is his blanket nearby? Good question, but right now he is hamming it up with Judy, so he is a happy kitten right now. Okay, so we know we have all the supplies we need because we did that. Here's... Okay, your pieces might not and or won't look exactly like mine. Like, I know when we designed it, we made different choices than we did when we kitted it. So, like, this banner piece actually got punched out of or die cut out of the card that it belongs with. So yours likely won't have a piece missing out of this one. But go ahead, grab your black base and burnish that. Oh my goodness, there's still Stella going on. Now, is that going to get covered? Scratch a little bit of that off the surface. Okay. Then we have our Flirty Flamingo layer. Okay, so that is our mat. Now we need to trim our piece of DSP, or in this particular instance, of course, we're using the Memories and More. So we need to trim that. So let's bring that into play. What we're going to do here is we are going to trim this to... This is the yellow. So my list of things is not in the exact same order as they are for filming right now. So this is card number 2, but on my list it's card number 3, black. Okay, so we are trimming it at 3 13/16. And if you were here for our paper pumpkin class this morning, you know that my foggy brain has led me astray. So I need to be extra cautious on my cuts so that I don't make a bad cut like I did this morning. So we have 3 13/16. So that's 4, 8, 12, 13/16. Then we are going to rotate. And actually, I'm going to advise you to do this differently. You're going to start by cutting at 5 1/16. 5 1/16. Cut that piece off first, then cut at 3 13/16. And the reason I say that is because now this piece for the inside is not going to go from top to bottom or left to right, I guess, because it's a vertical card, which is not the end of the world, but how we initially designed it, again, not a big deal, is that it would fill left to right down here, and by trimming the skinniness off the side first, now we're going to have to tuck it like this. So, minor little detail, absolutely not the end of the world, but if I were to do that again, let me just say it one more time, I would take the full size 4x6 and I would cut it on the long edge first. I'd line it up to 5 1/16, make that cut, then rotate it and trim it at 3 13/16. So there you go. Okay. now that we have this piece cut to size, you can go ahead and put your adhesive on it and line it up on your mat. And while we're at it, we may as well go ahead and glue this down. So here was another thing. So we cut that off of the back of this. We almost utilized this portion because we used that in a different card pack. So there's a lot of like thought and decisions that go into designing, and how the pieces all end up falling together sometimes is unknown until the end, and we almost utilized that piece elsewhere. But we did stick with this being yellow for the inside of this card. Okay, while we have the glue out, you can also go ahead and, uh-oh, where do we have a little circle? Oh, goodness. Well, hopefully I find that somewhere. Otherwise, I'll steal it from Judy, but we'll see. Okay, so go ahead and put glue on your black mat. Okay. Just flip through all these things one more time. Make sure the wheel didn't roll away. Okay, then we need to grab our Flirty Flamingo, which our ink pads are right over here. And then need to run and beg, borrow, and steal. All right, where did we put? Oh my goodness. Okay, I owe you a circle. I don't know where it rolled away to. We'll find it after the fact. Okay, we're borrowing a, oh goodness, this is not Nested Essentials. This is a stylish shape. So we die cut a circle out of the stylish shapes, and now we are going to take our Flirty Flamingo and our thank you from our fabulous sayings. So again, this is quite tight, so you're going to want to be very cautious when you stamp it. How we stamped it was that the crosshair of the T is right on the edge of the circle, and then the end of the K reaches to the other end of the circle. Then the descender for the Y dips almost down to the edge of the circle. So that's how we centered our circle. All right, here we go. No pressure. I think I did mine a little high, but it still looks good. Then on the inside, we are stamping thank you so much. So you can leave that stamp on. Oh, look at my hair. I have gotten so bad with, if I don't get right over the top of what I am stamping, I really don't place it well. So Chris is probably better at that than I am, but I always get my head in the frame. So my apologies on that. Okay, so on the inside of the card, we are stamping thank you so much, and we're using black. So I'm going to keep the thank you on the stamp pad. And you can see here on the card that we justified it a little bit to the left because the so much heads out to the right a little bit. goodness. Very splotchy inking. Okay, get that cleaned up, and then we'll put the so much on the block. All right. So what I was trying to accomplish with the so much is that the little swoosh that comes down on the on the U goes right between the so and the much. So it looks like they're together even though they were two separate stamps. Thank you, Margene. I love how these stamps turned out, or these cards turned out as well. It was very fun to work on. And it was a good exercise in kind of kitting things up, getting things ready. It was the perfect class for my mom and I to work on. So I loved it. And as a bonus, yes, the cards look great. Okay, thank you so much. We have the thank you stamped for the outside. So now it's time to get back to gluing. So adhesive can go on the back. That can get layered up on, this is the 1 7/8 inch circle punch. Works really well to nest with that die cut. Then the thank you so much can go on the inside of the card. So in the end, is it bad that this is kind of nested up like that? Absolutely not. But here is the difference between if you would have made the first cut versus making the second cut the way that I did on the first video, the first part of the video. So that's the difference. Just an absolutely minor detail. Okay. Then we are going to go ahead and flip this over. Surprise pop of yellow on the back. So we will put about 6 dimensionals on the back here. Whee! Yay! Francine says she thinks this is her favorite card. It is unlike the rest of them because of the black. Now the black is very tasteful. It's not bad, but the other ones are much more bright throughout. And yes, I love that pop of black in here. Okay, so we've got this piece. So I'm going to peel just the top 4 backs off the dimensionals and then hover it where I would like. Now you'll notice it's centered top to bottom, so there's equal distance between the top and the bottom, but it's much more to the left than it is centered. So I'm going to try to achieve that here as well. So we've got pretty well equidistant on top and bottom. Then we've got just a skinny strip going through on the left side and much more visible on the right side. Then I'm going to stick those dimensionals down. Of course, this bottom is not going to stick, and that is fully intentional. I'm then going to take my Flirty Flamingo strip, and I'm going to put glue on that. And now I'm going to sneak this under here. And without those dimensionals being stuck down, I now have some wiggle to be able to get that exactly where I want it. So, you don't have to do it that way, by all means. You could go ahead and stick that down before you stick this butterfly piece down. But now you are able to get a better feel for how much of that you want to be seen because you can wiggle it before the glue dries. For your reference, it is about 7/8 of an inch or about an inch from the bottom. So that's up to you exactly where you want to put it. Now, if you do it the way that I just showed you with the 2 dimensionals on the bottom, you need to remember to go back and peel those up so that you can stick it down. So just a little bonus tip, especially when you're designing, because a lot of things change when you're designing. So using that like temporary placement by not having all the dimensionals down really helps. Okay, then we are going to flip the thank you over. We want the ribbon to be coming off of this side, so I'm going to keep my finger there so I know where I want to place my adhesive. We're going to go ahead and put that ribbon down, or put that tear and tape down. And I do have a little bit hanging off the edge, so I want to fold that back. For this card, we have 7 inches of ribbon. So what that's going to look like is 2 loops and 2 tails. So I'm going to start at the top, just coming off of the K, and I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to fold it back and make a second loop. Second loop I'm going to make a little bigger than the first one. Then I'm going to draw a tail down, trim it off. Hello, Cindy. Thank you so much for joining. Now I have a nice mitered edge there already, so I'm just going to keep that edge and nestle it right next to the other tail and then trim it off. So that's how I would achieve the loop tail. Once you have it how you like, of course, if it doesn't turn out the first time, go ahead and peel it up and try it again. Take your tear and tape and stick it down so that it is not going anywhere. And then on the sides that don't have any ribbon, we're going to put dimensionals. Then we'll flip it over. Now, this card pack is very heavy with the Flirty Flamingo and the Pool Party, the bright colors. This green butterfly, in our eyes, stuck out like a sore thumb. So, the majority of the design of this card was, let's figure out what we're going to cover that butterfly with. So you'll notice the thank you conveniently goes right on top of that green butterfly. We have it hanging off of the edge just a little bit, off of the edge of that mat. And as you're sticking it down, you're paying attention that your thank you doesn't look like it's tilted. And there you have it. That's your card. Now, we need to come back with our brass butterflies and our Stella to give it our finishing touches. So we've got a large butterfly, or a large brass butterfly up in the corner. Hello, Carrie from Austria. Okay. So I'm learning that my eyesight is really bad, and I knew this, but apparently it's time to get a new prescription because I'm struggling really hard on seeing the names. So I'm sorry if I say your name or your country because apparently I cannot see very well. So we've got 2 brass butterflies in the upper left, and then we're going to finish it with 1 brass butterfly on the thank you. Then we can go ahead and add some Stella And for that, I'm going to put it on the butterfly wings. She's a juicy one, so I'm going to try to not overdo it. I'm going to go ahead and put it on all of the butterfly wings. Ooh, that butterfly is flying south. All right, more love for this card. Amazing. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. All right, so that is completed card number 2. We'll put that off to the side and move on now to card number 3. Which I am calling the Busy Butterfly card. Okay, so we've got 2 of them here. So let's make it. You can do anything. So grabbing our stack, we have our card base, which we can go ahead and burnish. Okay. We are going to run into the exact same thing here where we're trimming down this Memories of More card. So what I learned last time was that we are going to make our cut at 5 1/16 first, right? Measure twice, cut once. Then we are going to rotate it and cut at 3 13/16. Now we have a full edge-to-edge piece for the inside. And now you know what it looks like and why it quote-unquote kind of ish matters. So maybe you like it the other way, and maybe that's what you're gonna do because that's what you like. Okay, so we're gonna start layering. The first thing we're going to do is layer the Busy Butterfly DSP onto our pool party mat. Once that is adhered, you can go ahead and put it on. See, I even burnished it. That one's a little feisty. You can go ahead and glue that onto your card base. Now, it does appear as though there's a right way and a wrong way here. So it looks like these green butterflies are flying up. So that is the way I would try to focus on getting that on your card. While we're gluing, we're going to grab our Flirty Flamingo secondary mat that is embossed with beautiful patterns. We're going to go ahead and layer it on the Days Like This journaling card. this is a scrap. I do not recall having this piece. Last but certainly not least, we are going to grab this DSP strip. Again, green butterflies are flying up, and that is going to go on the right-hand side of the inside. This time, it will go all the way from edge to edge. In the sample card, we did not stamp anything. The inside was just decorated with this DSP. With the sentiment, you can do anything. We felt as though there was a story behind why you're sending this card. So we wanted to make sure you had plenty of room to write your little sentiment. So that is now ready to go inside. I got real excited and didn't actually end up. Hey, look, Judy, I found my circle. I can give that back to you now. It was way down in the pile. Look at that. Thanks for your generosity. Okay. Then we have our Nested Essentials polygon. And we are going to stamp You Can Do Anything. I got real excited and I got all like 75% of the card done before I remembered, hey, we got a stamp here. Okay. Get it mounted on your block. We are stamping with, again, Memento ink. We don't want to stamp it upside down. All right, ink up your block. And then we are going to hover. This one's a little tricky just because you're stamping on an irregular shape. That looks pretty good. Could maybe be down just a hair, but we're splitting hairs here. Speaking of, there's a cat hair on the stamp pad. Okay, that takes care of all the stamping for this card. Easy peasy, right? Okay, now it's time for some dimensionals. We will put dimensionals behind the polygon. Then we're going to stick the polygon onto the mat. So, this polygon is just a smidge more narrow than the mat that it's going on. So you'll have just a little bit of blue peeking out the side. Before you stick it down, the whole card is textured. So the most notable corner is this corner that has a lot of white to it. It really doesn't matter which way it goes. In our sample card, we did intentionally put the whiter corner in the bottom. It seemed to draw a lot of attention up at the top, but like I said, there is no right or wrong. So you might just want to hold this over your card to see if you have a preference. Because once you stick this on, well, you're surely not going to put your sentiment on upside down. So that's up to you. So hover this over the top. Try to get even with the left and the right hand side so that you have a little bit of blue peeking out And then also that you have equidistant here on your top and bottom. No matter how many times you hover and hold, it's just do the best you can, right? All right. Next, we're going to flip this over, and we are going to put tear and tape to put ribbon coming off the left and the right sides. Basically, it's going to look like it's coming off from behind the banner, or the sentiment, or whatever, the polygon as I keep calling it. All right, so if you have a roll of ribbon, you can just work off of the roll. Otherwise, we said 7 inches, which would be about which would be about 3.5 inches on each side. I do think that's quite generous. I don't know that we'll need that much, but you're going to do a loop and a tail on each side. So let's go ahead and loop and tail. You can trim it. And then I did another loop and tail. So on the right hand side I did the loop on top and the tail on bottom. On the left hand side I did the tail on top and the loop on the bottom. But there is no right or wrong way to do it. Oh, I did run out of tear and tape there. Okay. Again, we're going to finish it up by throwing a piece of tear and tape on top. And then, oh, time to go pick up the boys from school. Just kidding, not today. I have one more class today. Okay, then we are going to put dimensionals on the back. I got more cards to make. It's not time to leave. All right, then you can go ahead and center this on your card. So to finish it off, we have brass butterflies. So we've got a large on top. We've got a large on the bottom. And we have an additional small one on top. In terms of Stella on this card, so this is a busier background. I could, like call out a particular butterfly, like maybe put Stella on all the green ones, I'm honestly gonna leave it just as is. I am not even going to add Stella. Crazy, I know. All right, so then there you have it. This is card number 3. Whee, beautiful. Okay, then we have card number 4, which got a whole bunch of shifting going on over there. Okay, card number 4 looks like this. This is very geometric because we have the grid on the DSP card and then the plaid on the embossing folder. So let's bring all of our pieces together. And all of the pieces, I even have extra pieces. You do not need those pieces. Okay. So let's start by burnishing our card base. Your piece of plaid is going to have your banner. Where's my banner? Okay. Your banner die cut out of it. So in order of operations, you cut the piece of Flirty Flamingo. Then you die cut this piece out because you want this piece to not have plaid on it. So you die cut this piece out and then you run it through the embossing folder. So that's what your piece is going to look like. Now, before we get too excited here, let's see, what do we have? This is, okay. Before we get too excited here, this piece goes on the bottom. So that's what's going to cover up the hole that your banner came out of. But we have ribbon going across here that tucks behind it. And I don't want any of that to show. So I'm going to put some tear and tape on the back. So basically, I'd been starting all of these cards by going ahead and gluing right onto the card base right away. Well, we can't do that this time because we want to get the ribbon tails tucked behind before we glue it down. So we got our tear and tape strategically placed that we're going to tear the edges off. Then we're going to take our ribbon. So basically how this one laid out is my Memories and More mat is going to hit exactly where this thick line is. Yours likely will not space out exactly that same way, but figure out where it hits because I want this bottom-most rung of ribbon to be tucked behind that Memories and More card. So on this particular plaid, I'm going to start it just beneath that thick run. Okay, so I'm going to start my ribbon about a 1/16, if not an 1/8 of an inch, beneath that line. I'm going to wrap it around and then I'm going to trim it off. Then I'm going to take and start my ribbon for the second run, slightly overlapping the piece I just laid down. The plaid definitely helps, but you want to make sure that you're very intentional about how you're doing things because if it's a little crooked, it's gonna show. So Mom and I tried very hard when we were embossing these to make sure that they weren't crooked in the folder. So it should help you and hopefully not mess you up, because your grid should be pretty square. All right, then we're going to finish this off with a piece of tear and tape. Then we can bring our liquid glue in and adhere it to our card base. While we're gluing, I'm going to glue this card down next. So yes, it does have some gradient on the side. So you want to decide whether your gradient is off to the left or off to the right. It doesn't really matter. It's gonna be there. So you just have to decide which one you prefer. My sample card has it off to the left, so off to the left I go. Didn't get my glue quite far enough to the edge. Have a lifting corner. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is adhere this Memories and More card to the white mat. Again, your white mat is going to have something die cut out of it. One of them has your nested essential shape and the other has a circle and a nested essential shape. So it's going to have something cut out of it. So don't be alarmed. It's all hidden. It's very conservative of our paper. Okay, get that stuck down. Then we're going to talk about stamping. So, by the magic of TV, mine is already Stampin' Fussy Cut. I'm so sorry. It is not the most fun to fussy cut. I will be completely upfront with you. It's a very loopy, swoopy kind of font. You do not need to do anything perfect. I can tell you mine is not perfect. So don't fret about it too much. But you do have a piece that is 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, and you can stamp, 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 and then sit in front of the TV with your favorite show and fussy cut until all 3 of them are done. I'm going to not do any of that as to save your time and sanity, but I am going to bring in, we have Flirty Flamingo and Pool Party, and the only time we brought in any other stamp sets for this class is on the inside here. So it says happy birthday, and we just didn't feel like anything, like we could have done hooray, but it's not very big or whatever. So Love and Hugs comes out of the Greenery Lane stamp set, and we are stamping it in, excuse me, Flirty Flamingo. So, got so much dirt on my little stamps here. Okay. Ooh. Okay, then we are going to also take a little butterfly from Beautiful Butterflies and stamp that in Pool Party. See how I didn't lean in and hover over this one? It wasn't as hard to get centered-ish, but when I'm trying to stamp something in a very exact, precise spot, like on a die cut or on something like that, that is too hard for me, and that's when I need to lean in and you get to check out all the gray hairs that are sprouting in my head. Okay, so that is the first one. So that was Greenery Lane, and that is the only thing we need out of Greenery Lane. Then you can put that back. Grab Beautiful Butterflies, and we use that pretty little guy up there. He goes just nested right off of the love. All right, so that's the inside. Get that cleaned up, and again, you are done now with the Beautiful Butterfly stamp set. That being said, if that is a stamp set you own, you can embellish these cards with any of these stamps. You could stamp some more of the butterflies on the inside of these cards, or anything like that. So keep that in mind. We designed the cards, but you can take the cards and run with them and make them anything you want. So back to my card. I'm going to glue this on the inside now. I do believe at this point, the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set and the Brass Butterflies are both on Last Chance. So if those are things you like, don't delay. All right. Woo! Okay. Next, I'm going to put the loop loop tail off of the left-hand side of our banner. So I'll put a piece of tear and tape right on that edge. And then we've got, starting at about the midpoint, we've got loop, and loop, and tail. I like that. I think that turned out pretty good, so I'll trim it, flip it back over, and finish it with some tear and tape. This is going to be dimensionalized, so I'll put the dimensionals on the back, and then the happy birthday is also dimensionalized. So yes, do you know what makes fussy cutting a very delicate phrase even worse? Having to put dimensionals on the back of it. So my sincere apologies. If this card does not track with you, if you are struggling with the wanting to fussy cut and the wanting to put dimensionals on the back of a very delicate piece, you can absolutely reimagine this card however you please. We will not be offended. All right, so how on earth did I do this? I've got a little strip. Okay, so I'm going to take my glue scissors and we're going to start making super tiny dimensionals on the edge. So we're going to make a little strip that goes behind the H in happy. I hear a kitty. And in the Y, and then I want just a teeny tiny little one in the middle by the P. A lot of very delicate work here. Okay, then the happy. The happy goes centered left to right at the top. So nothing too scientific about that. Now, this middle part of birthday, middle, medium, small-ish, actually, any size dimensional should fit in there. So, no problem there. Then we'll make a skinny one for the Y and a skinny one for the B. And hopefully that works out fine. I will say this. The Y falls off the edge, so you're actually going to need to double stack that one. So we'll need one additional skinny one. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's not good.
That's when you're really crying.
Oh, is that funny? Hi. Were you crying for mommy? Not me. I know, I'm not the same. Okay, so go ahead and stack that Y up twice. Then you're going to position this so I don't necessarily want the B falling off, and I want the Y to dip between the H and the D. Alright, so now I have lots of dimensionals, lots of everything everywhere. Take all the backers off, flip this upside down, and this guy ends up going here-ish. And then we have one more level of dimensionals, which goes behind this entire mat. This is not a flat card. Flip that over, and at this point, this can just get centered, left to right and top to bottom. For our dimensionals, we have a large brass butterfly up top with a cat fur auto. I really can't get that out. Come on. There we go. A small brass butterfly. There-ish, and then we have one more large brass butterfly off to the left here. Then we also have Stella. Where did my Stella pen go? Which I'm going to put on the 3 lone butterflies up top here. I will also put it on the butterfly on the inside. Ooh, fancy. That's pretty. So there you have our happy birthday card, which means we only have one left. out of the way, we have our hello card. You're on my mind. Okay. So, for this card, we're going to burnish our card base. This piece is mine because it's torn, which totally doesn't matter because it's going to get covered up. And then we have all the good things, which can have all the glory for the next 10 minutes until it gets covered up. And then our inside. Need to come back later for the last card. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you on the flip side. Okay, so this 3x4 inch card. What we're going to do is we are going to run a diagonal through there, but we want it to be kind of a little bit like intentional. We don't want to just like willy-nilly cut it. So we are going 1/2 inch from the top to the bottom, or from the bottom to the top. I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. We noticed when we drew the line in that you could see that tick mark. So we're actually going to draw our lines on the back. I'm going to hopefully find a pencil. If not, we can use a pen because it is on the back. So grab your ruler and measure. So is it really 1/2 inch? No, it's, sorry, 3/4 of an inch. As I was holding it next to the ruler, I was like, oh man, that's really, really small. Okay, so take 3/4 and draw a tick mark. Okay, I'm trying to think here. I did that in the wrong placement. Draw a tick mark 3/4 of an inch down from the top left. I'm going to X that one off. And then draw a tick mark 3/4 of an inch from the, or like located in the bottom right hand corner. Now, if it was the opposite way, it's fine. Your strip would just go at a different diagonal, which it's just for decoration, so it doesn't necessarily matter. But essentially, now you're going to take your straight cutter and you're going to align your tick marks in the cutting track. Then you are going to take your blade and cut that piece into 2 halves. Now, obviously I was not worried about the tick marks being seen because we're on the back side, but you can see how they're still visible. Even though you cut through them, they're still visible. So if you would rather cut on the petal pink side, I would just advise that you use a pencil and that you try to erase it. Okay, so now we're going to start gluing. We are going to first glue one of the diagonals on the bottom. And one of the diagonals on the top. I see my mat is just a smidge smaller, so it must have been cut just a little bit smaller than 4 inches. So I'm going to intentionally push my piece of Memories and More card all the way off so that both of the edges are on the same edge, and then I can bring my paper scissor in and trim that little excess off. Hello, Deanne. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so that gets trimmed off the side. while we're gluing, we can go ahead and glue our all the good things to its mat. And then we'll move on to stamping. So again, we are using the Fabulous Sayings stamp set. We're going to stamp hello, and then on the inside, we are going to stamp you're on my mind. So this hello fits pretty snug on our Nested Essentials die. Oh goodness, we got a cat fur. Beautiful. Clean that up. And bring in You've Been on My Mind. Hello, Debbie. You are not late at all. It's okay. You can always catch the replay. We're just finishing up the last card. Then you can check out all of the rest of them in just a little bit. All right, well, because we are done with the stamping, we can go ahead and put this inside of our card, and then we can put the outside mat on as well. Oh my, I did a bad job there. Okay, then we are going to grab our tear and tape and put a run of tear and tape on the top of the hello and a run of tear and tape on the bottom. So we said 7 inches, and 7 inches is going to give you enough to go up and down for your ribbon. So I'm probably going to start with the tail down, fold it into a loop, make a loop on the bottom, and then trim it at the top. Again, we're going to finish it with a tear and tape sandwich. And we want to dimensionalize this, but there's not a ton of space, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a small dimensional on each side. the ribbon itself is quite dimensional. Okay, now, like I said, this just covers all the good things. So you want to hover over the top to make sure that you're covering all of the pieces of that text, and then set it down. Flip it over, and you can put dimensionals on the back. At this point, you can flip it over and center it left and right and top to bottom on your card. Okay, Stella and brass butterflies, and we are done. So I like putting Stella on the flowers. I could absolutely see putting Stella on the butterfly as well, but I'm just going to do the flowers this time. At least that's what I think. I might change my mind, but I changed my mind. More is better. All right, brass butterflies. We've got a big one up top. Oh, he's flying away. A little one. Let's see if I can get this little one off of there. Cannot. He lost his adhesive. And a little one on the leaf here. So, again, by the magic of TV, here are your completed cards. You've got 3 of the Hello card, 3 of the You Can Do Anything, 3 of the Happy Birthday, 3 of the Thank You, and 3 of the Sending Love. Woohoo! Debbie's stuff came today, so she's all set for the replay. That's amazing. Very excited that you guys should be getting your kits right around now if you have them paid for and they're out in the mail. So let us know if you make your cards, what they look like, if you have any alternatives that you do, and what you think of these cards in this class. We love it. We so appreciate you being here and you making these cards with us and supporting our business. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So there you have it. That's a Memories and More class. Love it. I am very much a fan of the Memories and More cards packs, and I love making kits out of these classes. So thank you so much. I'm going to take a little break. I will be back in person only, so you won't see me anymore today, but I do have a class in just a few hours. So I'm going to take a little break, but I appreciate you being here with me and sitting here and conversing with me, giving me your thoughts and your feedback. I really appreciate it. So thank you and have a wonderful day. Sending sunshine, love, big hugs, rainbows, and bright skies your way.